Okay,
All right.
you are good to go.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending today's Indigenous Commission meeting, Thursday, January 8th, 2026. The time is 11:06 a.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll do a roll call. Generally, we have Rose doing that for us. Would you be able to do that again, please, Rose?
Yes. Okay, Commissioner Cuddy-Eye,
Present.
Commissioner Curley,
Present.
and Commissioner Francis,
Present.
and Commissioner Lance,
Here.
Commissioner Moana,
Present.
Commissioner Marks,
Present.
and Commissioner Zavala.
Present.
Awesome. Okay,
All right, thank you. We'll move on to item 2A, the land acknowledgement. Generally, we have somebody, one of our commission volunteer for that. Is anybody able to do that for us today? Read the land acknowledgement.
Commissioner Zavala here. I can. Commissioner
Thank
Lance.
you.
The Flagstaff City Council humbly acknowledges the ancestral homelands of this area's indigenous nations and original stewards. These lands, still inhabited by native descendants, border mountains sacred to indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, their traditions, and their continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever know this place as home.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Or co-chair, actually. Sorry. Okay, we'll move on to item 3, public comment. At this time, any member of the public may address the commission on any subject within their jurisdiction that is not scheduled before the commission on that day. Due to open meeting laws, the commission cannot discuss or act on items presented during this portion of the agenda. To address the commission on an item that is on the agenda, please wait for the chair to call for public comment at the time the item is heard. Maximum 3 minutes per individual. Is there anybody from public has any comment? Okay, looks like there's no comment. We shall move on to item number 4. We have some approval of minutes. We have 3 of them. I'm sure you guys have all looked at it. We're going to need a first and second on each one. A first and second motion to approve. So we need to we need a motion to approve minutes for August 7th, 2025.
All motion. Moana. Commissioner Moana.
Okay. Commissioner Moana.
Commissioner Zavala, second.
Great, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you. Got the approval of the August 7th, 2025 minutes. Any opposed?
Any opposed?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry, I missed that. Okay, no opposed, motion carries. We got another approval of minutes for September 4th, 2025. Do we have motion to approve?
Commissioner Zavala here, first motion.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
This is Commissioner Francis. I will second.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All right, great. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, we have one more approval of minutes for October 9th, 2025. We need a first motion to approve.
Commissioner Lamambai here. I'll motion.
Thank you. Can we get a second?
Commissioner Zavala, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. Any opposed? Okay, no opposed. The motion carries. Great. We'll move on to item number 5, general business, possible vote. Item A is update on city council's commissioner appointments, selection of co-chairs for 2026. Staff liaison Rose Tohi will update the Indigenous Commission on the appointments of the commissioners at the January 6th, 2025 council meeting, which has got moved to today. The IC will also vote to select the next co-chairs with an explanation of prior year's format.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to congratulate both co-chairs that they've been reappointed for the commission. And that we do have a third seat that is not filled because of resignation. And I have sent an email to the clerks to see what needs to be done about that. And I'm thinking maybe we need more applicants for that. And there's a year left on that seat. So I'm just going to follow up on that to see what needs to happen with that seat. And then the format that we followed in the past year was to have a co-chair, as kind of like a senior person from the commission that would be the lead co-chair, and then there would be the second co-chair would be one who would be kind of like in a training position, taking over whenever the co-chair is not there. You know, basically, just like a vice chair would do the duties of that. The only reason why we do co-chairs is because that is more in line with our Indigenous way of thought, where there would be, you know, a balance of in this case, male and female balance. So going back to this, that's how we normally do it, but it's really up to you as far as how we'd like to have this done for this commission. We only have one voting member who's not in attendance right now, but the majority is here as far as the rest. For ex officio members, we welcome any input you have regarding this. So that is something that's always been there for you on recommendations or input. And then the voting will happen with the voting members. So I'll open it for, you can open it up for discussion on that or nominations.
This Commissioner Lance, I'd like to nominate Cheryl Lee Francis for co-chair.
This is Commissioner Francis. I have a question. On this commission, do we all have a rotation to be a chair or a co-chair throughout our tenure? Is that our?
We don't necessarily have a rotation, but it's every year, it's an annual selection of co-chairs. So whoever is willing to step into the role is fine. You just need to either self-nominate or accept the nomination or decline the nomination, whichever
I see.
is appropriate for you.
I was just going back to your thought about the male and female, that if there are 2 females now in this chair positions, does that offset that topic?
This is really up to the commission. If there are no other persons that want to fill this position, then it would be however you want it to set it up.
Like Commissioner Zavala has her hand raised.
Thanks, Commissioner Lance. I couldn't recollect, Commissioner Lance, before you stepped into the chair of the co-chair role, you were co-chair with Commissioner Toya, right, before she completed her term?
I believe so. It's been 3 years, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't remember. Did he roll into that role, Rose, or did we vote that in?
it was a
I'm
nomination.
pretty sure it was voted on.
I think Daryl Marks nominated or recommended nominate me.
Awesome. I was just trying to remember the past histories, but I wanted to actually nominate myself to remain in the co-chair position. I think the work I've been able to do on this commission is aligned with those duties, and I'm prepared to step into that role that Commissioner Lance had this past year.
Mhm. And that was really the thought, is that the second person would move into the lead position.
Got it.
And then you'd only need one person to nominate at this point.
Okay, so that would be Commissioner Francis, right? And Co-Chair Zavala would move into the main co-chair role? Is that what we need to vote on?
You can vote on both to solidify that Commissioner Zavala be the lead co-chair. And then you just need to vote on your second co-chair that will be in kind of like the training position. And then next year they would move into the lead position.
Commissioner Moana has her hand up.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I was wondering what this what the role entails in terms of being second co-chair.
It just if you've served as a vice chair in other organization, it just is basically that.
Okay. And I had one more question. I can't remember. Shirley, are you in a 3-year term or a 2-year term?
That's my other question.
Oh.
Thank you for
Just 'cause
bringing that up.
That came up when she said that the second co-chair.
I do believe I'm fulfilling somebody else's term.
All right, hold on. Let me grab that.
I would like to self-nominate if possible, too. Thanks.
Okay, I'm trying to get that. Where did it go?
Yeah, and if it's helpful, Moana, with some of the expectations for the vice chair, like if the chair isn't able to lead the meeting or anything like that, you would be expected to lead it and do roll call and motions and all of those things, depending on schedules and all of that.
Okay. Also, sorry my camera's off. I'm recovering from jaw surgery, so alas.
Okay. Shirley, your term in fulfilling the what you're doing right now will end December 2026. But you're able to reapply as well. In Moana, yours would end 2027, December 2027.
And this is Commissioner Francis. Another question. Has Commissioner Marks been a chair before?
Commissioner Marks?
I have not. I've declined.
So I nominated him last year, and because of the male and female role, I think it is still important that that is something to consider. Seeing though that Commissioner Moana is self-nominating, it sounds like a good opportunity for her to, if she would not, and if Daryl is declining, I again would like to nominate Daryl myself.
Okay, so we have, so are you declining then, Charlie, or are you accepting the nomination?
I'm really heavy, like I said, I'm heavily the male female thing that you kept mentioning is important to have those two different mindsets. I think that's important. So yes, I will then decline my nomination. Thank you, Commissioner Lance, for that. There's not a lot of males in this commission, which makes it a little bit difficult.
Well, I think
I
it's
understand
really
that.
up to, I think it's really up to you guys on how you do this. I think that Daryl makes a good point in that we are also, most of our nations in the area are matrilineal. So we support that matriarchal leadership. Um, Commissioner Moana?
Sorry, I was just gonna put, I just had the same thought when that first came up. Not now that I self-nominated, but when we were talking about the male, female, um, I just had the same thought. I come from a matrilineal culture, being Hopi, and I know that many of us do. So I think it's as long as we have both the male and female representation on the commission, um I think that it's okay to have oh my gosh, it's a dog, sorry. I think it's okay to have um either fem two female or two male co-chairs, however that goes now and in the future.
So Rose, just I'm gonna jump in there real quick. So with the so with the IC to vote, like according to this agenda here, we'll vote to select the next co-chair. So I really didn't have to step down. Is that what it is? I mean, it kind of sounded like it when I read it, like we needed to nominate somebody else.
Well, what you all decided was to have you as lead chair for this past year. And then the next co-chair would move into your position as lead chair. So then the commission would select another co-chair to be kind of like in the second chair.
Vice chair, I
Yeah,
guess you'd say.
yeah, you
Okay.
could say that. Yeah. So they would have the learning experience for this year, this coming year.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Mm.
okay. I was just clarifying that. It just sounded like with the male female thing, like, you know what I mean? There's only me and Daryl here right now present. So hopefully this next appointed commissioner, we can find another male that wants to be a part of the commission, you know.
Commissioner, I saw Commissioner Curley's hand up. Did I see that
No,
before?
But
Okay.
no.
Commissioner Zavala?
Yeah, since we're at a consensus that it could be female, female, or male, female, who are all the nominees officially?
Commissioner Moana, and I think that's really it because Commissioner Francis declined, but I haven't had an official decline from Commissioner Marks. He just said he declined the last time.
If I could respond to this one this time around, I appreciate the encouragement for leadership, but I'm really hoping that, as was shared before, and I put it in the chat, I recognize that we are in a male-dominant society, and I agree that, as Commissioner Moana had shared, if there are two female chairs, I think that as long as we have male presence within the commission, that still creates a balance because there's a lot of male dominant leadership within Western society. And I just want to make sure that we're elevating, especially when there is a female that wishes to step forward. I do not want to get in the way of that. I would encourage to step aside and then support that person stepping forward, if that makes any sense. So officially, I would say I would decline and step back because somebody wants to be in that role.
Okay. So right now we have Commissioner Moana. So do you want to close the nominations or do you want and vote on this?
It sounds
Can
like
can you verbally say that?
I would like to close nominations so that we can do an official vote.
okay, great. All right. Well, I guess all those in favor of Commissioner Moana being vice chair?
Co-chair.
Co-chair, I'm sorry. Co-chair, please. We need to take a first and a second, correct? Rose?
You'll need to do
Motion.
a motion
So I'll motion.
a motion to accept Commissioner Zavala as lead co-chair, and then Commissioner Moana as the second co-chair.
Okay, so we need a all in favor approve, right, of that versus just a first and second, right?
No, we don't need.
Go ahead and do the motion that Commissioner Marks.
So I motion that we vote to approve that Commissioner Zavala step into the chair role and that we accept the nomination and vote to approve Commissioner Moana as the co-chair. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the emotion. I'll second the emotion. This is
The
co-chair
emotion.
Lance. The emotion. Well, it's both. It's emotion and emotion. So it's a little bit of both. Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed?
Any abstentions?
Guess the motion carries.
So it's unanimous. Okay, cool. So based on that, I would suggest that co-chair Zavala take over the position, take over the meeting.
Okay. Exciting. Moving on to item B, Commissioner volunteers for event work groups. So we have a few items here, starting with the community powwow, looking at dates in April, Code Talker celebration in August, and then looking ahead to Indigenous Peoples Day, October 12th. We will start with the first one, a community powwow, possibly April 4th to 5th this year, or consider other dates.
So on this, with the work groups, you will also vote on that, on who the work group, who would contain those work groups for each of these, and then from there we can go on from there.
This is Commissioner Francis. Before we do a vote on the community powwow or any of these work groups, can we have a discussion on what our last year was like in terms of how the groups worked? I just want to know if anybody had any thoughts about what you felt or what you experienced.
I'll go ahead and jump in and start. I know that there was discussion about how there was not a lot of participation from volunteers or other commissioners in the organizing of the events, that we're discussing, the Kotaker event as well as the Indigenous Peoples Day event. And I think that there was an ask last year that there be more active participation and follow up or follow through with that participation. I hope that I'm saying that all correctly. And I think that that's a very important ask and responsibility for those on the commission to be able to step forward and step up.
Yeah, I am aligned with everything Commissioner Marks said, Commissioner Zavala here with that. And I think another part to it outside of engagement from the commission and follow through is having clear expectations from the Code Talkers event and the Indigenous Peoples Day event. It didn't seem like people had a clear idea of what their role was to be. So some folks were just present the day of the event, or there wasn't a lot of planning. So I think this is a great opportunity as we facilitate those groups to have very specific expectations, especially if we do plan this early on, like the physical in-person support of the event, prior gathering sponsors, things like that. I think we've hosted these events long enough. We can probably do that pretty well and structured now.
Okay, the only thing I want to clarify on the work group is that we don't have quorum from the commissioners, as the voting quorum. As ex officio members, you can be on the work group because you won't establish quorum. So that's the piece that everybody needs to understand. So that because if you do establish quorum, then we need to have it. All those meetings need to be public. And sometimes that means meeting every week or the last stretch of the planning.
And how many makes quorum again, Rose? 4?
Four voting members. And it really doesn't matter how many vacant seats we have of the voting members. It still has to be 4.
Does Commissioner Lance, so like as far as how many people are in the work groups, does it, I mean,
Has
are we
to
looking
be
like at a 3 minimum?
3. Mm-hmm.
3 minimum.
3 minimum voting members, and both ex officio members can be part of that group, and they don't count, and that won't count towards the quorum.
So
Commissioner Francis.
that brings into question our ability to fulfill a lot of these events. A powwow takes more than 3 people. It takes a lot of work. When we look back at the original powwow that Flagstaff did back in the 50s, 60s, I mean, they had a big board of like 14, 15 people. And how do you expect that we can pull that off as volunteers in that regard? It's like a lot. And so I think that that's what was the issue with both the Code Talkers and the Indigenous Peoples Day. Knowing that perhaps maybe some people as a volunteer, I mean, we're board members, but we're also volunteers. Putting in more time than others is complicated. And then I know, Rose, your position as a city official, your time is, this is what you're supposed to do and your job, and that is there. But for all of us out here, we have limited times. So I think that that's one of the things we really need to figure out, how to smooth it out better, because there was a lot of imbalance that I'd seen. And I don't know, how do we how do we make it a little bit smoother, I suppose, in moving forward? I guess adding another event is, I don't know if anybody has any other thoughts about it, but it would be definitely important to speak up about it, especially our new chairs. Your thoughts and having an idea or what should we do next be important to hear.
Commissioner Marks?
So I think that the with the planning for another event like the powwow, for example, one of the things that we did a little bit more preemptive this time around was that there was a conversation that had happened between um, Rose, myself, and some of the students that have been organizing the powwows at the high school to kind of get a baseline and then to see if there were any volunteers or participants from that group that'd be willing to help support. So I think that gives us the opportunity as commissioners to be able to reach out into our own communities, families, and support groups to be able to bring other individuals into that planning process and into the organizing process of these events. That gives us, whether an example is like I work with community assistance teams at Flagstaff as a board member. I could ask that organization, is there anybody here willing to volunteer, put in time and support for that for this to organize this event? And then I can do the same thing with like the Code Talkers event and the Indigenous Peoples Day event. And it just gives us as commissioners the opportunity to um, do more outreach within our own spaces and pull people in to support the work that we're doing collectively as commissioners. Correct me if I'm wrong in that, anybody.
I think this is Rose before commissioners of our co-chair Zavala speaks. In the discussion section, that's what we're going to be talking about, expanding our volunteer people on some of these projects. All I need right now is for at least 3 commissioners or 1 or 2, whichever you decide on, to be in the planning session with me and whoever volunteers from the community. That's what we're deciding on. And I know that it's been hard in the past couple of years, but we've planned great events. People really appreciate it and feel that it's been well organized, even though we ended up volunteering more hours beyond, even with me, beyond my regular work hours. I expended more time in doing that. However, we also realize that our events are getting bigger and more people are expecting these to go on. And so with that, we really need to get more organized according to the volunteers from our local community members. So that's where this is right now. But right now, we're just talking about who wants to be on the planning sessions for our commissioners, from our commissioners.
Thank you,
Commissioner
Rose.
Go ahead.
That was really, really helpful and insightful. And sticking to our agenda, as Rose had mentioned, Commissioner Zavala here, I think if we can hone in on the event groups and then we'll move back into the powwow, we'll be able to expand more on that. I wanted to take the time that I am not available to volunteer for the community powwow. I have capacity for the Indigenous Code Talker celebration and for Indigenous Peoples Day. And with my history and being able to participate with those 2 events I think the past 2 or 3 years, I I'm more than happy to be on those 2 working groups. Commissioner Moana?
Yeah, I would like to volunteer again for the Code Talker Planning Committee. Um, I think I'll be able to volunteer for the the Indigenous Peoples Day, but I don't want to commit to that quite yet. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about powwows. I've never been to one. It's just not part of how I grew up or part of my cultural um way of life, so I don't feel comfortable volunteering for that one. But if I can help in any way with the planning committee for that, any U outreach or other, I can definitely do that too.
Commissioner Lance?
Yeah, with all that being said right there, I'd like to volunteer for the Indigenous Peoples Day, to be a part of that. One thing I'd like to add is that, like over the last couple of years, as long as we've been in there, I will say that I haven't been a part of a lot of the planning committees, but, those of you that have, I think it would be beneficial to have, like, when that comes around as like some kind of outline of how much services we're actually needing, like somebody to do planning of this. And I know that's what you usually do. I would think, you know what I mean, that this person's going to do this role and that role and this role is like, that would help me to be able to see what is needed. And like, I could say, okay, I'm going to do line item 2 and line item 3, and that would go for the code talkers also, even the powwows, because I know Daryl Marks was saying that he's been involved in organizing powwows, so like he would know all these, the outline of what needs to be volunteered and who, and stuff like that. Then I like that kind of outline where I could say, all right, I could do items 3 and 4 or 5 and 6. I'm pretty sure that's how it all goes down, but I'd like to see that because I haven't been involved in too much like any kind of organizing groups like this. My experience has really been in my work, for many years. I could get a lot of stuff done. I just got to know what it is.
Okay, so can we start with the powwow? Who wants to be involved in the powwow? And then we can go from there to the others. And then vote on it. Or actually vote on each of them, I guess I should say. So Daryl, go ahead.
You were asking for volunteers for the powwow, so
Right.
I'm raising my hand, saying I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Marks, thank you.
I'd also like to volunteer for the powwow. Commissioner Lance.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I think we have 2 members who'd like to volunteer. So can we go ahead and have the commission vote on the 2 to be part of the planning committee as
All right.
representatives of the Indigenous Commission?
Okay, motion to approve Commissioner Marks and Commissioner Lance as the working group for item agenda B1, Community Powwow.
I'll motion. This is Commissioner Lamont Vaya.
You second?
I'll second the motion, Commissioner Zavala.
Oh, I thought you motioned.
Oh, that closes it out right away. So I
Mhm.
make the
Yeah,
first
you just
motion, then
vote.
close it. Okay, cool.
Wait a minute. So the first one for the powwow, Commissioner Zavala, you made the motion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Commissioner Moana seconded, right?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Miss Rose. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Awesome. Okay, and Miss Rose will go to
Co-talkers.
B2, co-talkers. That is, do you have the list of everyone who jumped in? There were some folks in the chat. Commissioner Curley, Commissioner Francis said possibly.
I would rather have people verbalize it.
Okay.
So co-talkers, I have Commissioner Moana. And then who else?
We've got Commissioner Lance, Commissioner Zavala.
Okay, Lance. And
Yes.
for the co-talkers,
Um,
I thought you had,
no, I wanted to be a part of the work groups for the Indigenous Peoples Day and the powwow.
yeah, that's what I
Okay.
thought. So anybody else wanting to do the co-talk, wanting to volunteer for the co-talkers?
Commissioner Curley, please.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. All right, that's 3. So we just need a motion to accept those 3 for the work group as representatives of the Indigenous Commission, and a second and a vote.
I'll motion.
Commissioner Francis, I will second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Okay. Thank you. Back to you, co-chair.
Okay, moving on to B3, Indigenous Peoples Day Working Group. We've got Commissioner Lance, myself for Commissioner Zavala. Commissioner Francis, did you verbalize
Yes,
earlier to be?
No, I have not, but I will verbalize to volunteer for the Indigenous Peoples Day event.
Okay,
Okay.
that's 3.
Mhm. Motion to approve.
I'll
Motion.
motion this. Oh,
Can you please add Commissioner Curley, please?
Okay. Good. Thank you, Commissioner.
And for clarification, so that the expectations are clear for the 4 of us, since there will be 4 commissioners on, those meetings will have to be public, correct?
No,
Because of quorum?
No, because it's not quorum.
I am
Quorum,
an ex officio member.
Okay. Thank
only
you.
quorum. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes 4, and we'll redo the motion to close out for the 4. Motion to approve?
I'll motion, Commissioner Lance.
Who
I'll
seconded?
second.
Okay, now vote.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, discussion items number 6, the initial discussion and planning of a community powwow. So here we can include ideas on powwow name or theme, community feeding, social powwow if it's open to the public, no fees, venue, recruitment of volunteers, staff liaison. Tohi will be responsible for head staff, contact and agreements. What are the challenges and solutions?
Just to make one part of that clear is that this this will be open to the public and there will be no charge because we are utilizing city funds, and it's best not to charge. Co-chair or Commissioner Lance.
Yeah, so with this community powwow, is this like, was this done last year? Is this like a city of Flagstaff put on? So would this be like first annual city of Flagstaff community
This
powwow?
is this is the first one, and we're not sure if it's going to be annual, but we're going to see how this turns out, and we'll see how the community feels about it, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you.
This is Commissioner Francis. I have a question. When is the Coconino High School's powwow and the Flagstaff High School's powwow? dates?
Commissioner Marks?
Waiting for this to end. Sorry, the announcements were loud. So, April 16th and 17th, let me just double check that date real quick, is when Flagstaff High School is planning theirs. And then it's kind of up in the air when Coco is going to plan. It was slated for so 17th and 18th is Flag High. Coconino's was planned for the 1st and the 2nd, but they haven't confirmed that with us yet. So
Of what, April?
of May, I'm sorry about that. April. I'm sorry, May 1st and 2nd.
So the reason why this date I put forward was because this was the original date that ASU usually has their powwow, but they're not having it during this time. So it's sort of like kind of free days right now in our area.
And I don't know if
Discussion.
this matters to anybody else, but the last Gathering of Nations powwow forever potentially is going to be April 24th, 25th, and 26th.
April is powwow month, it sounds like.
Yeah. Springtime.
Is that like traditionally like powwow season? Like when does powwow season begin? Does anybody know? Like that's, I'm thinking there's probably something to that.
I'm not a big powwow like person, but what I do understand about powwow is that some of the dances that are a part of these events or these celebrations have a lot to do with harvest, like either harvest or planting in springtime. So the grasses are starting to come out, and that's when some of the dances, like the grass dance, where you go out and you pat those down so that you can develop camp. Right. So yeah.
And I think for actual ceremony time, not just for.
Okay.
Co-chair.
Is there a budget already determined as to what the city can contribute and what the working group would have to make up? From a logistics perspective, I think 3 months is a bit of a tight turnaround time, especially for first time planning. And I think understanding the budget will help with working backwards on planning everything else.
Well, right now we're going to be working with 8,000, and that would go towards. We're trying to see what we can do about not having to pay for a facility. So I've sent some information over to pros to see what we can do about maybe an outside facility like one of the fields. So that's in the works right now. We're going to probably have a meeting sometime soon. And then and I'm doing that because I was thinking, and we talked about Daryl and some of the students, is that it would be good to have it somewhere near Thorpe Park where the original powwow was. And so utilizing one of those fields would be a good start. And then so that's what we're working with. It could be a little bit more depending on if we can get sponsorships and other partners to cover certain things. So that's what we're looking at. I haven't been in the powwow world for a while, but I do know some of the things, some of the planning that goes into it. And with Daryl's help and some of the community members who know about powwows, that would be really beneficial. I have talked to some of the head staff already, and they're very excited to come to Flagstaff for this special occasion. and many of and at least some of them are not asking for anything except maybe lodging. So we're sort of feeling things out right now, but those are some thoughts to put forward. But the money, as far as the funds are concerned, that would probably go to lodging, and for those who are asking for some sort of payment, that will go to head staff. And then we also talk about depending on what the facility cost might be, that could be something that we're might have to contend with. If we don't go with a city facility, that is not going to, or maybe we can have a discounted fee on that. Feeding will be a big part of that. Do we focus on just the head staff, or do we want to have a community feeding, and those kinds of things? And then vendors, we talked about maybe having vendors there that can pay a fee, that can contribute to other things that we're going to have to pay for. So those are some things to think about, but we'll probably sit down and do kind of like a quick budget on some of that. I've already turned that in as like kind of like a quick budget to the team last year to help approve the 8,000. But go ahead, Councilmember Matthews.
Rose, I just had a question. Is it typical or acceptable to have food vendors there? To, instead of feeding people, and I've been to events where the staff or the workers or the dignitaries, they get just like a little ticket so they can go and go to a food truck and get their meals still free without having to take that out, make it a separate meal section and just having food vendors there to where people that are attending the powwow can go and eat, and have water and drinks and stuff. Would that be an option, or is that not typically how it works?
I think we're open, and that's some of the things that we're going to have to work through with pros, depending on, because sometimes having food vendors on on city property has to go through different channels, and so meaning they have to have a license, city license to sell, those kinds of things, and so those are some things we have to work through. And food vendors usually, I mean, I think they would be welcome when planning for it. And I think we can have them. It just depends on what they're asking for and what pros will need to have them there. Does that answer your questions, Councilmember Matthews?
It does. Thank you so much.
I'm not sure who had their hand up first. Co-Chair Zavala, are you following the hands?
Yeah, the one labeled 1 would be Commissioner Francis. So it'd go Commissioner Francis, then Commissioner Curley.
Thank you, Commissioner Zavala. So the work of the Powwow Committee is large, as I have worked on one in my college years, and it's tremendous. It's just tremendous work. So when you're on this committee, like Rose had mentioned, she's in contact with the chair, the head staff, but she's also, in charge of being the treasurer of the finance, understanding what the budget is. Within that, the logistics, like Commissioner Zavala mentioned, you've got a venue to think about, the permits for that, the security that might need to be there, the setup, the tear down, vendor coordinator, the publicity of marketing and promoting this event, and then the volunteer coordination. So with the 2 people on this committee, which is Commissioner Lance and Commissioner Marks, and of course, Commissioner Marks is an expert and in putting on these powwows with his position there. I think that as long as you understand that all of those things come with a lot of work and a lot of dedication to these areas to cover, I think we need to figure out if we can get more volunteers in some regard, looking at other, I guess, really focusing on if the commission committee people can figure out what they're responsible for, because then they'll have to delegate with volunteers themselves in that regard. It's a ongoing thing, and 3 months is really fast to do all of that. But again, it's a first annual, and why not? You know, it's I guess it's possible. But April is it looks like there's a lot of powwow going on in April. It would have been nice to kind of spread it out. Um, so it's not one after another after another. But those are just my thoughts, just to share with everybody.
I think it's also good to have you all know that we can work with this all the way up to, I'd say, June. The fiscal year starts for us in July, and so we can't go beyond June. And so if you want to consider something else that's not in April or the proposed dates, I think that's something the commission can consider.
Is that June 1st or June 30th?
June 30th. The only thing is, like, May is full of graduations, and so most people won't attend.
One thought about it being in June is it is kind of the summer months. People come up from out of town and they want to do something here in northern Arizona. That might be one attraction for them too.
Commissioner Curley?
Thank you. I was just thinking about the food vendors. We could approach the Flagstaff dormitory. I know around this time they're always doing various food sales to raise money for the end of the year trip for the senior class. And then also the Native American Club from the high schools. They could also raise money there. And as far as feeding the head staff, we could have a hospitality room and ask commissioners to donate food. And since the powwow is free of admission and everything, then they should be able to, the attendees should be able to pay for a meal, a lunch, dinner, whatever. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Commissioner Francis. I have one response to Commissioner Curley's statement, just that we be cognizant of, if we do this in April and the high school's powwow is April 17th and 18th, to understand that their volunteer hours are also going towards that event. And if Coconino High School has their event, those students are also focused on that event for their May event. So just again, the hours, there's a lot. So I just want to put that out there. And thank you for your comment, Commissioner Curley.
And I think Commissioner Marks can also join on that input.
Okay, so a lot of questions. There is, and because this is an inaugural event, like it's the opportunity to practice putting this together. I don't want anybody to try to compare it to ASU, Flagstaff High School, or even gatherings or any other thing. This is just an attempt to see how well this event goes and see how well it's received by the public. With that said, because it's going to be considered a small event, I personally, when I first got started here at the high school, when we started shifting things around and changing the dates and changing our location and all of that of the powwow, we planned small and we had a good turnout for that small event. Each year we added an element to make it a little bit bigger, right? What you now see with Flagstaff High School is different than what they're doing over at Cocoa, because when we restarted those powwows at Cocoa, again, we were starting small, trying to follow the pattern. We had students from both schools volunteer at both events so that they were learning how to work together, but also learning how to run the event, because that's one of the things that I do with the school is I help kind of set the table and then they bring everything to it and then serve it out. So with that experience, we have a number of people this year that need those hours. And so I agree that we could reach out to the dorm if they want to provide food or be a food vendor, they can work to organize that. If there are students at the schools, as there are from the university, we've always gotten students from the college and university that want to volunteer and support our event. This inaugural event for City of Flagstaff gives them an opportunity to practice what they need to do and what they need to prepare for our event. So I would welcome it. I would encourage it, in fact. But knowing that this is going to be a small event, it's going to operate differently. Now, the difference between the powwows that we're hosting at the high schools and this powwow that we're discussing is the ones at the high school are considered contests. So it's going to be a little bit busier because there's people there wanting to make money. Now, we at the schools don't pay out a lot because we're still high schools and we use it as a fundraising opportunity. So we don't bring in like somebody that's hoping to make 10 grand or whatever those prize giveaways are for the bigger schools, casinos, and communities. So community powwow, people are going because they love to powwow. They love coming together as community, coming together as family. So there's a lot more celebration and opportunity for ceremony to set in for that. Now, a community powwow is not one that generates funds. It's not a money maker. Okay. If you have food vendors, it helps them. If you have arts and crafts vendors, it helps them. But the commission here wouldn't be operating a powwow to make money. It's to be able to give back to the community. So everybody that participates in that event is there to give back to community. And so there's a lot more celebration. There's a lot more opportunities to ask community, can you contribute? What would you be willing to support? And in what celebrations, like initiations. My first time out, I'll be dancing grass dance or jingle. So the family will do a lot of gifting during that time. And so that's why we need the head staff that's familiar with community powwows, because they'll coordinate all of those things. What we as a commission are doing is basically opening the doors, setting the location, and then setting the parameters. Like, here's what we can do between this time and this time. What dances, activities are you going to have within that time? And then how do we support that? And then we let them know this is when we're doing a community feed or when we're feeding the head staff. And then here are the opportunity for us to set up where the vendors would go, food or otherwise. And the powwow head staff would just organize, okay, what categories, what dances, we get to have say in what that looks like. But then also like the schedule, they'll be putting that together. And then they're collectively, we're all inviting people to the event. So even if there are commissioners not on the committees, it's encouraged that you're promoting the event to bring people to the event. And then I think, as I'm hearing this correctly from Rose, is that after this event, we can put that survey report card out to the community saying, do you want to do this again or should we do something different? Right? So I don't think that we should put too much pressure or worry too much about an inaugural event, because if we get 20 dancers and 50 people, I think it's successful. That's me. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Marks. Commissioner Lance?
Yeah, I just wanted to just kind of throw out there, because I had kind of mentioned, like, is this like first annual or something like that, and you were saying it wasn't, the this community powwow this is probably the only one of its kind lately, right? Because everything else is usually associated with like Flag High or Coconino, NAU used to have one and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if, like, people, when they see it, especially the natives that have been around, here for most of their lives, they're probably going to be associating it with what was done back in the day. So the one that was like held at Thorpe Park, does anybody know if that was like put on by the city? Was it funded by like city funds and stuff like that? Was it like contest type, or was it more celebration? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Because I'm thinking, once the word gets out, some people are probably going to be thinking, oh, this is like a reviving of the of of the old community powwow. You know what I mean? City of Flagstaff powwow. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't around back then. So, well, I was, but I was very little. So I'm just wondering if anybody knows, about that.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Okay, so that one was a much bigger event. They had parades, they had, I want to say, contest, and there was a lot of
Mhm.
effort put forward, not only by the city, but they had a lot of sponsorship to be able to host that event. I put a link in the chat about what the city of Flagstaff has recorded as the final years of that powwow. So I would encourage you take a look at that and see what you have there. There's a lot more information out there about those powwows. I would encourage that you take it with a grain of salt because it was a while ago. And the language that we use now is a little different. And if people start to say, okay, well, is this one going to be as big? Again, that's why we're shifting it to say that we are hosting a community powwow. Once people hear about the community part of it, those that are in it to do competition recognize and understand that's not what this is about. It's about the love of that type of activity or event.
Mhm. And I think it's important to know that this is also going to be Indigenous led. There's support from the city, whereas the old powwow was not Indigenous led. There was more, I think, as the AIM people would say, it's exploitation of Indigenous lifeways. So with this, we want to just make sure that we're not reviving something that was not a good part of some of that history. It was, and so we want to know that our relationship with the city is different now. That we are the Indigenous people in this community want to have a community powwow that is supported by the community, that is also supported um, um, by Indigenous planning, but we also welcome all others, relatives who want to help. And we do have a lot of those. We have a volunteer program here at the city where a lot of our staff have volunteered to set up things and be around to assist. So these are things that we're looking to tap into and have tapped into. Like Daryl was saying, Commissioner Marks was saying, this is a community and it's more about social interaction. So just leaving it at that. So I think some of the things we need to decide is, do we want a 1-day powwow? Would we like to have a 2-day powwow? And do we want to reserve it for just days only? If we do a 2-day powwow, would it be like, let's say, from 10 to 5 each day? If we want to do a 1-day powwow, it would probably be from, I don't know, 9 to 8 or something like that. So those are some things to consider. If people are going to come out, there's certain expectations, like how late is it going to last? Do we have enough time to get home if we're traveling from Navajo or, or other parts of nearby residences. And so those are some things we'd like to just kind of feel, get from some input on. So then as we collect our volunteers and our Commissioner Marks and Commissioner Lance to help plan, we have a little bit of groundwork at least to start with.
Commissioner Curley? Oh,
Thank you. I was just thinking that for volunteers and getting help, we could reach out to Sharon Doctor at NAU and see if she could help us identify our Native students who need community hours for scholarships, or we could ask them for help, because I know my daughter's got a scholarship and she is required to get so much community hours to keep that scholarship. So I'm thinking that we could reach out to NAU for assistance with any of these events as well. My thoughts. Thank you.
I also wanted to say that, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. NAU, the last I had heard, NAU, the center was also planning a powwow. And I think that was brought up at one of our last Commission for Indigenous Peoples meetings on campus. And I think that's Emerald with Oyce, who is helping to plan that program, which familiar face sitting next to Daryl. Yeah, so there's also that going on. So I don't know if the planning committee would like to reach out to Emerald and get some information from her. Listening, like I said earlier, I don't know anything about powwows. I've never been to a powwow. Yeah. And I think thinking about it from an outside perspective, in a way, I feel like because this is the first time that we're doing this and we are talking about, like Daryl said, like thinking small, thinking not thinking small, thinking community. One day I think would be a good idea as a trial run for a powwow. We don't want to do anything too big to where it gets super overwhelming, I think. Especially because this is the first time that we're doing this as the commission. So one day, and then I don't know if we're talking about location at all, but one of the first places that popped up was kind of in the area of where the what is the building called? The Indigenous Community Center run by the Indigenous Circle of Flagstaff is going to be out there by Kinlani. And there are those fields out there that could be good, especially if we're doing something into the evening. I know there's the baseball fields have stadium lights and things like that, so that could be something to help with like the organizational standpoint of it. I don't know. And anybody can cut me off at any time. But yeah.
Commissioner Lance?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Lance. I just wanted to just mention about the dates, the suggested dates. I know it says consideration of other dates, but like the April 4th through 5th, we've had some wintry weather, in the past that early in April. So maybe a little bit later, just in case, because if we're planning outside or something like that, that could just ruin everything, So just kind of throwing out there, May would probably be a little safer. June, we'd have a lot better weather. So just kind of throwing that out there. And I know we'll talk about that more in the work groups, but I'm just kind of throwing that out there right now. That just came to mind. That is all.
Commissioner Marks?
I wanted to give the floor to this young lady to introduce herself so that she can be known to the group as the expert. that I mentioned.
Hello, everyone. It's very good to see familiar faces. Thank you all for letting me come over here and speak with you guys. My name is Ashlyn Arnold. For those who aren't familiar, I am of the Tango people clan of the Navajo people, and I am born for the Pangasinan Filipino people. My maternal grandfather is of the San Felipe Pueblo Fox clan, and my paternal grandfather is of the German people. I'm originally from Kansas, Arizona, although I reside in Flagstaff. I'm a senior at Flagstaff High School, and I am the 2025 to 2026 Miss Sequan Power Princess. And so, with that, when I used to live in California, we lived on the Kumeyaay Reservation, and so I have like a lot of experience with like powwow and like communities out in California. I've been doing powwow for about 10 years now, and so I'm super excited to be speaking about this topic. Head staff.
You've also been a head staff.
Yes, I've been head staff or in responsibilities like that many times. Started ever since, I was powwowing in California. And then recently, like a few years ago, I was the head lady for the Flagstaff High School powwow when it was my first year here, actually. But I actually do have another head staff title coming up in March. So I'm pretty excited for that. But I'm just super excited to be talking to you guys about, this subject. Do you guys have any questions?
Do you know when the NAU powwow is planned for?
Sometime in June, as it was this past year. I know that it will be hosted by the NAU Powwow Society, Pine Country Powwow Society. Yeah. I can definitely look into that more though, because my mom, she's the advisor, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text her right now.
Yeah, Ashlyn has her hands into everything.
Other
which is
questions?
good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ashlyn, this is Diana. Hi,
Hello,
hi,
Diana.
Daryl. What reservation did you say, Kuala?
Kumeyaay.
Kumeyaay.
It's the in Southern California,
Yeah.
the Kumeyaay Indian Reservation. I lived closer to the Sequan band, and so that's there's like a bunch of different bands. There's like a Luceño band, um, and just like a bunch more in the San Diego County. But Sequan is the one that raised me with my indigeneity, and so that's when I chose to take on the role of the Power Princess.
Oh, okay. I was at Anza, California.
Really?
Yeah, I mean I didn't live there. I went there for a race event, but that's the Cahuila, is it Coahuila Res in Anza. So anyway, I thought that's what you said, but so good to meet you.
It's good to meet you as well. Thank you for sharing that. That's really cool.
This is Commissioner Francis. Looks like last year's NAU powwow was June 7th.
Yes.
So it's around that time, the first weekend or so in June.
Well, she has no service.
Other questions?
Okay, we probably should start wrapping this up.
Okay, we'll go over to
Thank you.
informational. Yes, and thank you, Ashlyn, for being on and for sharing that information. Hopefully, you can jump in with our working group over there, Commissioner Marks and Commissioner Lance, to help support with these efforts. Going to item 7, informational items to and from commissioner members, staff, and future agenda item requests. I've got a few, but I'll open it up to our commissioners first before I rattle off.
This is Diana. Sorry, Darren, I beat you.
That's okay. That's all right.
This is just FYI. I got a request from Corey that's with the beautification arts and sciences of for the city of Flagstaff. And he's looking for some panelists to select artists for a mural for the large water tank at Buffalo Park. So if they just want to have some Indigenous representation and input of the artist's proposals when they ever get them, I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I was asked to consider it just because I run a lot and I don't really particularly run at Buffalo Park because it's too boring for me, but there's a lot of runners and a lot of walkers who frequent the park. So if anyone is interested in being a panel, to reach out to Corey with the City of Flagstaff, Beautification Arts and Sciences. If nobody wants to, then I'd be more than happy to represent, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. Thank you.
And we'll move right to you, Commissioner Lance. I just want to give it a minute in case anybody had immediate thoughts on participating on that panel.
Maybe they can reach out to me and just email me saying that they're interested in that, and I can connect them with Corey.
Perfect. Commissioner Lance?
Yeah, so I had some thoughts lately about like Native American business, right? So like I'm kind of thinking along these lines that I want to put together some kind of collective, kind of like a network, that we could like put Native American business like in like a directory, almost like a network. Like it's not so much of a advertising thing, but like what kind of caught me at what kind of made me start thinking about this was during Indigenous Peoples Day, we had those panelists, we had the Jalen Bahi, or Jalen Whitethorn, I think his last name is, sorry, the artist. But we had a couple of other people. We had I think Sheldon, his name was, he was like a bookkeeper, tax guy. We had like a graphic design guy that I kind of talked to Commissioner Zavala and Francis about, so that kind of got me thinking, is like, I'm kind of wanting to put something together. So if anybody has any kind of information on network type of stuff, and I know, there's like Google, but what I'm thinking of, kind of like how I mentioned before, was like having like some kind of structured like outline, like how I would go about this, because my thing is like, I know people out there, I talk to people out there all the time about different business. They're new, they don't have bookkeeping services, or they don't have graphic design or anything like that. So there is probably something out there. I know I talked with Commissioner Francis probably last year or something like that. There was like a woman type of like a Native American women's network that was down south in Phoenix. And so this is like, I don't know what I'm trying to, I want to put together a collective that
Commissioner Lance,
has,
do you want to put this on the agenda so that everybody can talk about it and see what they can bring together? Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, and Commissioner Lance, if you want to grab coffee or something to talk about that, I have a lot of different thoughts, and I know we're going to put this as an agenda item for the next one, but I do want to refer to Joshua Butler making a big call out to the community at Indigenous Peoples Day it was either 23 or in 24, after one of the panels of having our own American Indian Chamber of Commerce, because there's one that's very valley centric. We don't have anything like that. So I would love to connect and talk more about that. I think it's something needed in the community, and just some of the experiences I've had with introducing that to some local organizations here that have yet to be receptive to it.
Great. That's what I'm talking about. If we're not saying something
Yeah,
about it.
I think it's just, if we put it on the agenda, then there can be discussion, and you can invite, we can invite Josh if you want, see what his ideas are, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, since I'm yapping, I've got some other informational items, we had our Girls on the Run board meeting this past Tuesday. The state of North Country, they are going to be filing one of the chapters that I can't remember which one. It's in the Arizona Daily Sun, and it sounds like they may or may not be getting absorbed by El Rio, which is a community health center in southern Arizona, which is still leaving Girls on the Run in limbo. We didn't get to do that end of year campaign, and we still receive donations, but right now they're just part of this big general bucket of North Country Fund. So our annual Galentine's Day event we always plan in February is going to be rescheduled for a later time this summer or this spring. And I'll have more information there. I'm just sharing with this group in case you know anybody who looks forward to those events or would like to donate raffle prizes or anything like that. Those requests will be coming from me soon, and we still have our seasons in action. Our girls are still continuing to be served. We're just still figuring out what the next steps are. And then the Flagstaff Women's Leadership Network meeting is next Monday night from 4:30 to 6. I'll be one of the speakers, and we have that monthly. So if you or any other folks who are uh, passionate about supporting women and those who empower women, please come on by. It's a free event, very informal and just very human connection focused. And that's all from me for now.
Okay, if there's not any more, I have a couple.
Commissioner Francis, and then you, Rose, and you'll close us out.
Okay, that's fine.
This is Commissioner Francis. Mine is going to be just real quick. I just wanted to, and I want to do this at the beginning of our meeting, but to after this meeting, if you have a moment, do a moment of silence for what's going on in the world today, especially with this country and what's happening in Minnesota. It's all over the place, the news. At some point in some time, these things are very real events occurring that as Indigenous people, we have always had to speak out about and understand our own history and to see what names we have to understand what's happening, what's actually going on. So constant education and constant staying informed. Flagstaff is a cute little mountain town. It seems like it can be impenetrable sometimes, but it's not. We are subjected to just as much of this any moment, and our Indigenous people are the people that have felt that from the day one. So definitely keep what's happening in the news always on your mind, and to think of those people that that are hurt or harmed on either side, that we have an answer, solution to figure out what we can do as people, as humans, the right things to do at the end of the day. So I just wanted to make that clear for this, for my message here.
Thank you. Yeah, for that. It's very true. Okay. I have, so with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, we have a Citizens Academy that will be happening. And if you know of people who want to know more, especially from the Indigenous community, to know more about understanding our court system, who's who in the justice system, sentencing and second chances, real world case studies, those will all be happening in February. And there needs to be, it's in the evening from 5:30 to 7:30, I believe. And February 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. So they need people to register for that. There's limited seating. So I'm going to put that in the chat so you can do that or refer people to do that. The other one is maybe Mariah, you can cover this, is the NAU event for the MLK Day celebration.
Yay, thank you, Miss Rose. Yes, the NAU, and let me pull up the email, inclusive department, and I'm probably botching this. I received an invite from Reverend Bernadine Lewis, who is does a lot of different stuff and is always promoting inclusivity and all of these things. It is the Center for Inclusive Excellence and Access. They'll be throwing a free event the morning of Martin Luther King Jr. Day from Let's see. It is from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Let me copy and paste the
I
Eventbrite
did that.
link.
I just did.
Oh, thank you. My computer's a little slow, but it's a great event to go out and connect. I went last year. A lot of community members are there. There's a keynote speaker, and I think it's really important for us as Indigenous commissioners and leaders in the community to go and support these other spaces that aren't always Indigenous centric. So it's a free event. There's breakfast, a lot of leaders there. It would be great to connect and uplift that day and celebrate that day in that way. There's a gala going on that Saturday too, if anybody really wants to know more. I think the RSVP list is up, but if you guys are wanting to go out to a dinner that is aligned with MLK Day and celebrating that day, feel free to reach out to me and I can send more information. But I'll be there that Monday morning and would love to see any of you guys there and anybody else you want to invite.
Yeah, and it's also important to know that the group that's been planning this has also approached City Council, and City Council has been supportive in giving some funds to them to plan some of these events for Martin Luther King celebrations. So, yay. All right, back to you, Co-Chair Zavala.
All right. Anybody else, anything else they'd like to share? Any more items?
This is Diana. I just wanted to just reiterate what you just said about the MLK with NAU. I go there. I have participated in it. I've attended the event, and then we go for a walk on the campus thing. So it's really insightful and informative. And no matter what whoever the speaker they invite is very energizing and positive as well. And I want to also thank Commissioner Francis for her input about the state of what is going on. Having lived in Minnesota, it really, really affected me. So it's tragic, and it could happen anywhere. And on Native spaces right now, where there is talk about that what has been done to Venezuela can happen also to our sovereignty here. So we have to be vigilant about it and be involved. So I just want to say thank you for her bringing this out.
Thank you, Diana. I'll go ahead, Commissioner Francis.
No, I just again, these are hard times, and the fact that what had happened in Venezuela has always been happening on Indigenous lands. It's not that it has already, with the natural extraction of our resources without our say-so. And so again, just staying up to date. Our own ignorance about our own history we cannot keep saying we didn't know, we do know. And to keep putting it on saying I wasn't taught that or I didn't know. We have to really stay strong in our own history and in our own medicine and our own prayers that we figure out an answer. But what is happening today is it's what's been going on this whole time. It's just an illusion. And so we definitely need to stay strong in our facts, and that we present ourselves collectively in a good mind and with good intentions, with not just for us, but for everybody, for our whole community. It impacts everybody. And the woman in Minnesota, a random person I don't even know, a lot of people had happened to. So I think we just need to keep them in our thoughts, definitely in our prayers, but stay informed is the biggest thing. So that's my last message I wanted to say. So be very careful out there, everyone. We all have to figure out how do we know our rights. And I think that the chief of police has definitely let us know that this is a topic that's come up in our meetings there. And hopefully with Flagstaff, City of Flagstaff, our community of Coconino County, that we stand strong together and that we, again, stand up for each other. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for my overtime.
go to moment of silence.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you for the time. And a big, big thank you, Chokwe Tesia, Commissioner Lance, for leading us these last couple of years of everything you've done for our commission and continue to do and being part of the working groups. We've really appreciated your leadership. And now moving to adjournment at 12:41 p.m. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Have a great day. See you
everybody.
soon. Bye.
Happy New
Bye.
Year. See you next time.
Rose.